Hello, I'm Sarah McQuaid, and you're watching the UK Americana Bar Show with the indefatigable Sam Miller.
Get yourself your back and takes herself outside. She pads across the grass to find him. She never makes a sound. One sparrow down.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the UK Americana Bar Show. Thank you for joining us, we really do appreciate it. A couple of weeks ago, I interviewed folk singer Sarah McQuaid. She was born in Spain, raised in America, spent a lot of time in Ireland. Now she lives in the UK in Cornwall, and she's promoting her new critically acclaimed album, the St Buryan Sessions. You're going to love this. Sarah's got a deep voice with beautiful lyrics that she uses. A lot of poetry involved actually. She's absolutely fabulous. Part 1, Sarah McQuaid, and please stay to the end. We've got a new section called On The Spot, and she's so funny. Check it out, Part 1. This is it. I've been waiting to do this all year. Ready? You okay? You ready? Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the UK Americana Bar Show. Thank you for joining us. I am so excited to bring you a very special guest. I've been wanting to get on the show for a long, long time. One of our own original folk singers from the UK, based in the UK. But, ladies and gentlemen, Sarah McQuaid.
Hello.
How you doing?
Hello.
Thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I've been doing lots of research on you, and we was laughing and joking earlier. You are all over the place, aren't you? And I was trying to work out your accent, and you know, it's a little bit of American, Canadian, bit of from Spain. You're based here now in the UK in Cornwall, and you spent 13 years in Ireland.
I did.
So your accent is very unique.
Yeah, it's all over the place because I was, as you say, born in Spain, which is where my father was from. Grew up in America, in Chicago, which is where my mother was from.
Right.
And then moved to Ireland, which is where my husband is from and where my children were born. And then moved after 13 years, as you correctly remembered. Well done there. I moved from with the family, with my husband and our 2 kids, from Ireland to Cornwall.
So, I mean, you don't... I mean, I was laughing, joking earlier, but you're just everywhere, aren't you?
Yeah.
And you're on your way... You was at a gig last night. You're on your way to Twickenham tonight for a gig.
Yeah.
And are you off to Germany or Europe?
Yes.
You are.
Yeah.
So tell us... I mean, I know you're promoting your new album, which is the Sessions,
The St Buryan Sessions.
St Buryan Sessions.
Yeah.
I've heard a couple of tracks, you know, the mesmerising. They're really, really cool. A lot of people have been writing up about you and so on and so forth, and they say that you're unique because of your voice. You've got this beautiful, textured, deep voice. You've got must check her out, she's fantastic. But also, you're pretty unorthodox as well, aren't you? Because your writing complements your deep voice and uniqueness. But, I mean, how did you build that? It's like you're writing poetry and you're putting music to it. Where did that come about? How did you get the inspiration to have that direction?
Well, I've been writing songs for about as long as I can remember. I think I wrote my first song when I was 8. It was dreadful.
That long?
No one will ever hear it. Yeah, but I still have it because I actually wrote it out on music manuscript paper, you know, with the words and the music and everything. So I got musical training really, really early on because I was in the Chicago Children's Choir, which was this fantastic, really high-powered children's choir. I mean, we toured all over the place, all around the US and Canada, and you know, it was an intense schedule because you'd be doing school concerts during the day and local TV tapings and an evening concert, and then you'd be parceled out to host families and get back on the bus in the morning and go off to another place.
But didn't you start your first album or stuff was you were quite young as well, 2006, was it your first album?
My first album, I mean, funnily enough, well, I made an album with a band even long before that. I played in bands when I lived in the States and made a couple of CDs with a trad Irish band that I was playing in back in those days.
Got to number 1?
Sorry. Oh no, it was my solo album. I'm sorry that got to number 1.
Not very good at this, am I?
Oh no, brilliant. You're wonderful.
No, I'm just so excited.
Nobody can be expected to remember everything.
I'm just so excited about it. Of course, you've done 4, 5, 6, 7 albums after that, but the number one was the one I pick up on.
Yeah.
And we talk about this lifetime achievement as well that you got. So
I can talk all about that.
There was one part that I read about you about. Was it like a Red Indian type thing that you did?
Crow Coyote Buffalo is what you're
I
thinking
couldn't pronounce
of.
that.
Yeah.
Could you say it again? It's
Crow Coyote Buffalo is an album that I made under the band name Mama with a wonderful woman called Zoe, who your viewers might remember. She had a massive hit single back in the early 90s called Sunshine on a Rainy Day. Do you remember that? Stayed in the top 5 of the UK charts for, I think, 16 weeks and has kept her nicely ever since. Just one song. I keep, and she's a brilliant writer. I mean, she's written loads of brilliant songs.
She's a big inspiration too, isn't she?
Huge, oh, massive. Well, because she was the one who really set me on the songwriting path.
Yeah.
Because prior to meeting Zoe, I'd made a couple of albums that were primarily folk and traditional music, which had, my first album had 1 of my own original songs on it. The second album had 2 of my own original songs on it. So I really thought of myself as being a folk singer who happened to write an occasional song. And then I moved to Cornwall. And at the school gates...
Beautiful Cornwall, we love Cornwall.
Oh, we do. It's a lovely place to live. And I'm way down in the tip of the toe of Cornwall, way down between Penzance and Land's End. And so my kids were going to this tiny little school. I think there were about 20-odd kids in the entire school, ranging in age from 4 on up to 11, and so each year had maybe 3 or 4 kids in it. It was kind of a one-room schoolhouse kind of.
It must have been hard
stage
fitting it in with your writing, your gigging and stuff. That must have been hard with the family as well.
Well, it's funny, when my kids were really small, I was still living in Ireland and I had a full-time job, and so did my husband, and I was dropping the kids off to nursery every morning at 7 in the morning and driving to work and getting home in the evening, collecting them from nursery, and I felt like I never saw them.
You just remind me, we had Honey Ryder in here, a great band, and the 2 girls out of the band, they wanted us to do a particular part of how a mother becomes she's a musician with her family, and she's saying the same things, running around, getting the toast done, taking to school, coming back to the studio, writing, picking up the kids, how you doing, taking football, taking whatever, come back, go out to the bar. So it's really, it's hard, isn't it? It's probably enjoyable at the end of it, but it's never seemed to have affected you, your family, your music.
Well, the thing is, it's a lot easier integrating being a parent with being a full-time touring musician than it was integrating being a parent with having a full-time regular 9-to-5 job, because that's when I really felt like I never saw the kids. Whereas when we moved to Cornwall,
that's interesting.
My husband was there to look after the kids while I was away on tour, and I kind of worked my tour schedule around their school schedule. So I was always home on school holidays. I was always home in the summer holidays. So I had way more time with the kids, hour for hour, day for day, than I would have had if I'd stayed working in that full-time job.
I didn't think of it like that.
Yeah.
I did a little bit of music myself, and you're right, with the children, it was not as bad because the wife, quite luckily, used to bring up the kids more. But there were times when there was places to go, times to be, and so on and so forth. But I see what you're getting at. So look, let's talk about, there's so much to talk about. There's so much to talk about this lady, I've got to tell you. Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yeah.
That was in Ireland.
Yeah.
And you was on a famous show, RTE show out there, is that right?
Oh, well, yeah, that was separate to the Lifetime Achievement thing. And, and we were talking about Zoe, by the way, and I just didn't mention the detail that it was at that tiny little school, at the school gates, that I met Zoe, and the 2 of us got to be friends and made an album together under the band name Mama, which is called Crow Coyote Buffalo, just in case you...
Sorry, that was me getting carried away there. But
you're all right.
We can go back to the Lifetime Achievement Award. So there was also a person in your life that inspired you. Did you have a famous cousin or something, Dave?
Well, I had a famous, I think it was a 3rd cousin, Gamble Rogers, a very well-known songwriter and storyteller and performer in the USA. I only met him once, and I was about 6 or 7 years old, but he made a powerful impression on me. He died not that long after that, very tragically. He drowned trying to save somebody else from drowning. But he was a real character, and I remember he came to visit my grandmother, and I just sat on the floor, looking up at him. He had this wonderful kind of craggy face, he was telling all these stories and talking about his life, and prior to meeting him, I didn't really have a concept that people could have a life as a touring musician and be traveling around from place to place and entertaining people and telling stories and so on. And I thought, wow. I remember thinking that's a really good thing to do.
It's funny. You've answered my next question, which is your inspiration and how you write the way you do, because your writing is unorthodoxly unique, and you have this exquisite voice. It's a deep voice. I wouldn't say it's baritone, but it's a deep, and it's very smoky, and it's fantastic. And all that combined, what with the inspiration in your writing. I mean, your writing. How would you explain your writing apart from folk? It's poetry, isn't it? Am I right for saying that?
Oh, yeah. No, please do say that all you like.
I've listened to a lot of stuff, and it does feel that way. But hey.
A lot of the time the words come first. I mean, the way that I started working with Zoe, actually, was that she was at my house one day, and she got her guitar. She said, I want to play you a new song I've been writing. And she started playing and singing, and I said, well, that's really nice, but I'm not really understanding the words you're singing. Could you write them down for me? And she said, oh, I don't have any words. I'm just singing gibberish. I don't have any words. And I said, well, would you like some? And she said, oh, yes, please, could you write some words? And then she liked them so much that we wound up making an album together, which is how I started working with the very wonderful Martin Stansbury.
Yes, I heard about the famous Martin who's here.
Oh, yes, who's here. He's waving, but you can't see him.
We'll get him in a minute. He's a road manager, technician, producer. He does everything. Oh.
Everything, and does all the logistics, gets me from place to place, and I could not tour on the level that I'm touring without Martin. I mean,
a bit like my producer, actually. I can't do the show without her. Don't tell her I said
Absolutely
that.
not. Producers rock, don't they?
So this new album, which you're promoting, it's doing very, very well everywhere. It's doing great. Where did you find the inspiration for all of that? Is it apart from just the sessions? It's not just sessions, it's other things, isn't it?
Well, the new album came out...
A lot of churches, a lot of cathedrals,
I do love performing in churches, always have. I just find they're beautiful spaces to sing in.
I think we've got some of you on here. Oh, there you go, there's one on there.
Oh, yeah, there you go. That's the church where I was recording and filming the live album. What happened was, COVID hit. I was on tour in Germany, and we were 2 weeks into what was supposed to be a 6-week tour.
God, yeah.
And
remember it well.
and the gigs were falling over like dominoes. Like every day there was another show being cancelled, and then they started making noises about borders being closed and travel being cut off, and we thought, right, we better just throw in the towel and go home. Which we did, and then it was kind of, well, what are we going to do now? And Martin and I had been talking for a long time about doing a live album, because I think there's something that comes out in a live performance that it's very hard to kind of replicate in studio. There's an energy when you're performing live.
Absolutely fantastic. You've got to check out. I think we've got some video footage come up now, actually. Take a look.
Charlie's gone home. When Charlie is with me, my life is on hold. He takes all my time, things get out of control. I should be relieved that I'm finally able to breathe again. Charlie's gone home now.
Good, ready? Back in the room. So just talking about your albums that you've had out, and you've had lots of success with them. What have you had? How many albums would you say you put out?
6 solo albums. plus the Mama album, and I'm hoping to make another album this summer if I can get my new home studio sorted out. Yeah.
Are you on tour in the UK presently?
Well, yes. I'm just at the tail end of my warm-up tour for the year.
Warm-up tour?
Yeah. I go out in January, and I have a bunch of new songs that I'm trying out that I'm hoping to record soon, and because the first big tour of the year is in Netherlands, Belgium, Germany for 5 weeks. And when you're going over to another continent for 5 weeks, you really want to make sure everything is running smoothly and you've got everything you need. All your equipment is working fine. The equipment that's been put away since November. So you just want to get out there and do it for kind of a short tour without too much arduous traveling. So that's what we've done. It's just 7. I think there are 7 shows on the warm-up tour, possibly 8.
Yeah,
I can't
amazing.
remember.
You've been likened to Joni Mitchell and Karen Carpenter.
Yeah,
that's not a bad accolade. All the press, just the writing that accolades that they give you is really, really fantastic. How do you feel about that? That keep you going?
Yeah, it's nice. It's encouraging. When people say nice things. I remember somebody described me once. They came up to me at a gig, and this couple came up and they said, "We've been trying to figure out, what you remind me of, and we finally figured it out. You're like a female Nick Drake." And I thought, I'll take that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's nice. That's a good one. That's a good one. And because I think one of the things I really like about Nick Drake is the way I kind of feel like it's a duet for guitar and voice. It's not like he's just a singer accompanying himself. The backing and everything is all part of the thing, and that's kind of...
Isn't it interesting that, like, a lot of, especially the youth of music today, the young kids in music, they see these great classic artists, your Elvises or Sinatras or Marvin Gaye's or whatever they are, and they seem to search for who is the next big thing, and something like that. Because I have lots of artists that talk about, they think I sound like this, or I could be doing it with my writing, and they all wonder where it comes from. It's just that need for that quality and that's different sound, which is what you are.